Okay, I want to do an example of what they call measures of center of a data set. And the four measures that we're going to do are mean, median, mode, and mid-range. I guess they're all M words. The first two we're going to do on the calculator, but the other two we won't be able to do on the calculator. So here's the data set. I just made up some numbers: 4, 7, 8, 5, 6, 8, 10. You can calculate the mean by adding them up and dividing by the number of numbers, and you can calculate the median by arranging them in order and picking the one in the middle. But the calculator can do these things for you, and I wanted to show how to do this on the calculator. So on the calculator, let me clear that out. We're going to enter these numbers into a list, and to enter these in a list, I first want to clear out my list. So I'm going to stat clear list, and then I want to clear list this L1 here, which is above the 1, second L1, and when I hit enter, it says done. That means the list is clear. I'm going to enter those numbers into the list in the following way: stat again, and the first thing on that menu is edit. See, I have some junk in list 2, which I should have cleared out, but it doesn't matter. So I'm moving over to list 1. I'm going to enter those numbers: 4, 7, 8, 5, 6, 8, 10. When you enter a bunch of numbers, it's so easy to make a mistake that I'm going to just double check. 4, 7, 8, 5, 6, 8, 10. Okay, now once you get the list, I'm going back to stat, calc, and the first thing there is called 1var stats. If I go enter, now my stat wizard is on, and it's asking me what list do you want to do the 1var stats on. That's L1. If it's not there, you can always enter it. There's L1. The frequency list should be blank. And when I hit calculate, it spits out a bunch of numbers. Now for us right now, you see this X bar here? That's the mean, and if we round it off to one decimal place, 6.9 rounded off to one decimal place. So X bar is 6.9 rounded off to one decimal place. If I arrow down a little bit more, it gives some more information. You see this MED equals 7. That's the median. So the median is 7. Okay, now for the mode and mid-range, it's not given on the calculator, but it's relatively straightforward to compute. The mode is the number that appears most often. Mode is the number that appears most often. So if you look back at this data set, it was 4, 7, 8, 5, 6, 8, 10. I purposely put 2 8s on there and 1 of everything else. So 8 appears most often for this data set. 8 appears most often and is the mode. Now they could ask something tricky about mode. I don't particularly like this, but as another quick note on mode, if you have a data set like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, say, where nobody appears more often than anybody else, you would say that has no mode. And the other kind of example, if you had 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, well, it's a tie between 2 and 4. They might call this bimodal with modes 2 and 4. The last thing we're going to calculate is the mid-range. And the mid-range is the mean of the high and the low value divided by 2. Now the calculator, I mean, you can see you can look at the data set and look at the high and low, but the calculator shows you the high and low. The min x is the low, and the max x is the high. So high plus low is 10 plus 4. 10 plus 4 divided by 2, and that comes out 7. And it is a, okay, it's not the same as the mode. That is the mid-range. Oh, it was the same as the median. Well, that's an accident. That generally won't happen. Now, I just want to make mention about one more thing about that calculation, that I'm hitting mode here, and if I arrow down, see, I have this thing called Stat Wizards here, and my Stat Wizard is on. If I turn the Stat Wizard off and do the same calculation, I'll get out of there, second quit. If I go Stat, Calc, 1var Stats, notice it didn't give me that little menu, but if I just enter the list I want to do the 1var Stats on now, second L1, and hit enter, it spits out the same exact numbers as we got when the Stat Wizard was on.